from a spiritual guide who couldn't foresee her own relationship collapse.
Don't you dare call me crazy. I'm acting like a wife who can't communicate clearly with her husband.
You're not acting like a wife right now.
I just told you a few minutes ago that I'm depressed.
To explosive meltdowns so extreme they looked almost possessed.
No, I said I don't!
You said
This is the deeply satisfying downfall of Kimberly Rochelle, and how her own toxic behavior destroyed everything she claimed she wanted. Ever wonder how someone becomes famous for all the wrong reasons? Meet Kimberly Rochelle and brace yourself for a chaotic ride. Kimberly Rochelle isn't just another cast member. She's a full-blown warning sign and one of the most controversial personalities in 90 Day Fiancé history. When she debuted on 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, Season 5 in 2023, viewers didn't know what to expect. It didn't take long, though, for Kimberly to earn a reputation, and not a good one.
You love TJ. Why do you love TJ? What's about?
It's everything about him.
So everything means everything.
Kimberly was a 34-year-old clairvoyant and spiritual advisor from Charlotte, North Carolina. Single and searching for love, she met 23-year-old Tejaswi TJ Goswami online in 2021. TJ was an IT professional from Ahmedabad, India. After just 3 months of chatting, Kimberly boarded a plane to meet him in person. What began as a romantic gamble quickly unraveled. From the moment she arrived, Kimberly stood out, not just for moving overseas for love, but for her complete refusal to adapt to anything that didn't mirror her American lifestyle.
If he is suggesting you to not cook garlic in kitchen or do some particular stuffs, it's okay to compromise for the few things because he is also compromising, yeah. It's not a competition.
She claimed to be spiritual and open-minded, yet the second she encountered real cultural differences, she revealed herself to be one of the most entitled cast members the show had ever seen. Viewers didn't know whether to cringe or rage. One minute she was ripping up wedding invitations over a spelling error, the next she was screaming at family members during full-blown confrontations. Her behavior went viral, but not for the reasons anyone would want. When Kimberly arrived at TJ's family home in India, reality hit hard. The house was traditional, with multiple generations living under one roof, along with cultural expectations she had clearly never bothered to learn. Religious customs, shared spaces, and family hierarchy required patience and respect. Kimberly was immediately uncomfortable. She struggled with shared living, rejected basic cultural manners, and showed open disrespect toward the family trying to welcome her. It became obvious she had zero interest in adjusting or compromising. The visit exposed just how unprepared Kimberly was to join a family or embrace a different culture. Instead of reflecting on herself, she decided everyone else was the problem.
So picking every line, this is not happening, and getting very astounded with the fact that this is happening this way. At least you can say that, okay, this works not well, we can do it later on.
Again, if we do that, though, it's going to waste money.
Kimberly quickly became infamous online for her entitlement and cultural insensitivity. Social media filled with reaction clips and criticism over how she treated TJ's family. At first, some viewers assumed she was just overwhelmed. Moving abroad isn't easy after all. But as the season continued, it became clear this wasn't culture shock. This was someone who genuinely believed the world should cater to her comfort. So what happens when someone who claims to predict the future can't recognize their own destructive patterns? For 2 years, Kimberly and TJ maintained a long-distance relationship, flying back and forth on expensive visits. Kimberly was obsessed, constantly posting online about finding her soulmate. She talked endlessly about how TJ's family values aligned with her spirituality, and how deeply connected she felt to Hindu traditions. But red flags were always there. During her visits, it was obvious Kimberly's fantasy version of life in India didn't match reality. She imagined herself as an enlightened Western woman, embracing Eastern spirituality, without sacrificing her independence. TJ tried to prepare her for real life. He explained joint family living, religious expectations, and daily responsibilities. But Kimberly seemed convinced that love, and her so-called spirituality, would magically erase all cultural differences without effort on her part.
If you wanna create a drama out of this, then it's okay. Otherwise, you know that how many times I told you, if you feel alone, you can go back to US.
By early 2023, they were engaged. Kimberly packed up her life and moved to India on a 90-day visa, believing this leap of faith would fulfill her spiritual visions. Instead, it set the stage for a public meltdown. If Kimberly thought her spiritual background would help her adjust, she was dead wrong. From day one in Ahmedabad, it was clear she had no idea what she'd signed up for, and no intention of trying. The biggest shock was joint family living. In traditional Indian households, multiple generations share space, chores, and decision-making. This wasn't living near in-laws. It was sharing kitchens, common areas, and daily life with TJ's mother and brother. Kimberly, used to complete independence, felt instantly suffocated. She resented what she viewed as invasions of privacy, even though this was exactly the lifestyle TJ had warned her about. Things escalated when she was expected to follow basic Hindu customs, like covering her head in the kitchen as a sign of respect. These weren't extreme demands. They were standard practices millions of women follow daily. But Kimberly treated these expectations as personal attacks on her American identity. She refused, mocked the traditions, and made it clear she found them beneath her. She then began openly criticizing TJ's family inside their own home. She accused his brother of crossing boundaries and labeled his mother controlling, despite their efforts to help her adjust. In record time, Kimberly managed to alienate the very people meant to become her family. These weren't enemies, they were loved ones offering guidance, and she treated them with hostility. The tension grew so severe that Kimberly demanded a separate apartment. TJ complied, spending his own money to build an upstairs living space. Rather than appreciating the compromise, Kimberly acted as if it was owed to her. One fan summed it up perfectly. That man literally built her a home in 2 months with his bare hands. The fact that she isn't grateful is shocking. Suggestions are fine, but damn. Then came the wedding invitation meltdown. When TJ's family presented invitations with her name slightly misspelled, likely due to translation issues, Kimberly didn't calmly correct it. She ripped the invitations apart in front of TJ's family. The moment was so disrespectful that TJ told her to leave.
You say always that I have a spiritual connection, I am a clairvoyant. How the you are clairvoyant? You are not respecting someone's soul and someone's emotion?
Bad words come out of my mouth regardless of whether I'm angry or calm. I cuss.
Although she later apologized, the damage was irreversible. This wasn't about spelling. It was about basic respect, something Kimberly consistently failed to show. Despite every warning sign, the couple went through with their traditional wedding. Watching it was uncomfortable. TJ looked like he was realizing his mistake in real time, while Kimberly already seemed irritated and ready to complain. After the wedding, everything only went downhill. According to Kimberly, TJ's behavior toward her shifted dramatically. She claimed all physical affection disappeared. No kisses, no hand-holding, no romance at all. Kimberly said she felt unwanted and rejected inside her own marriage, which she claimed reopened childhood trauma connected to past physical abuse. This emotional distance pushed Kimberly into increasingly desperate territory. She pleaded with TJ to attend couples counseling, hoping a therapist could help them communicate and reconnect. TJ refused, explaining that therapy carries heavy stigma in his culture, and that mental health treatment wasn't something he was comfortable with. So there they were, legally married, living under the same roof, yet completely disconnected. Kimberly felt isolated and abandoned, while TJ appeared emotionally checked out.
So what's your solution? Going back to US? Okay with that.
I'm telling you that I'm depressed and you don't care.
What you else expect from me?
Maybe give me a hug and say I'm sorry you're depressed.
Eventually, things became so overwhelming that Kimberly returned to the United States, saying her loneliness and declining mental health left her no choice. Taking space could have been a healthy move. Instead, Kimberly seemed to use the separation to reinforce her belief that TJ was solely responsible for everything that went wrong.
I can't go for Yash, I can't go for Kim either. I have to balance the whole situation.
If Kimberly's behavior during the regular season turned viewers off, her appearance at the Season 5 tell-all sealed her fate as one of the most disliked cast members in franchise history.
Who were eager to join us today and weigh in on Kimberly and TJ's relationship because they've had similar experiences.
The tell-all included Jenny Slatton, another American woman married to an Indian man who had also struggled with cultural differences. You'd expect solidarity. Instead, Kimberly went straight on the attack. She accused Jenny of being delusional, for voicing cultural frustrations that were nearly identical to Kimberly's own complaints. The hypocrisy was impossible to miss, and fans called it out immediately online. Kimberly didn't stop there. She escalated into personal insults completely unrelated to the original discussion. The tell-all went viral for all the wrong reasons. Viewers slammed Kimberly for her inability to take accountability while tearing into others who shared similar struggles. That moment cemented her image as Season 5's problem cast member. She wasn't just demanding, she came across as cruel, dismissive, and deeply hypocritical, making it nearly impossible for audiences to sympathize with her legitimate concerns.
Give you my address.
Oh, okay.
The difference between Jenny and Kimberly is that Kimberly was welcomed with open arms, but was unappreciative and rude, and Jenny was rejected from the beginning, but still treated Sumit's family with respect. I think that is why Jenny came at her so harshly. Overall, Kimberly has a lot of deep-rooted issues that she should address. One of them is how much she escalates an issue to the extreme instead of trying to compromise or understand TJ and his family's perspective. They're looking at things from a cultural and traditional lens, not to mention the major language barrier. I think Kimberly and TJ should have taken more time to court each other, and she should have lived in an Indian before getting married to learn about the culture, which could have helped with her decision. TLC, please be done with this woman. Kimberly, when it comes to a 90-day OG like Jenny, my dear, you could never. By January 2024, there appeared to be a glimmer of hope. TJ traveled to the United States for what they described as a trial run of American life. Their social media posts during this time were surprisingly affectionate and positive.
So, because obviously I'm upstairs bored, alone, nothing else to do. Everybody's just screaming downstairs. So, I believe that you should never go to bed angry, but like I said last week, TJ and I hadn't slept. And so by the time
they shared photos together and looked genuinely happy. Fans wondered if distance and cultural pressure had been the real problem. Maybe on Kimberly's home turf, the marriage could survive. But as this story repeatedly showed, whenever things seemed to improve, chaos wasn't far behind. By mid-2024, cracks resurfaced. Cryptic posts hinted at renewed conflict, with Kimberly even admitting, "Both of us are toxic."
you know, they had a legitimate concern that I wouldn't be like an Indian wife. And I won't be. I never would be.
It was a rare moment of self-awareness from someone who had previously avoided accountability. Unfortunately, that realization came too late. In September 2024, Kimberly returned to India, hoping that face-to-face communication could finally resolve their issues. Instead, the visit intensified everything. Arguments became more frequent and explosive, erasing whatever progress they had made in America. That same month, Kimberly officially announced their breakup on Instagram, citing constant fighting. The statement was brief and almost civil, suggesting a quiet, respectful ending. Then TJ responded. He posted a dramatic Instagram story, reading "Bye forever," before deactivating his account entirely. The theatrical exit hinted that the truth behind the breakup was far messier than either had shared. In October 2024, the two released an awkward joint video on Kimberly's YouTube channel. They framed the separation as a transition phase, claiming they weren't divorcing and were simply taking time apart to grow through disagreements. Fans weren't convinced. Comments flooded in pointing out the obvious tension and questioning why a public statement was needed if reconciliation was truly the goal. But some loyal Kim fans were still there for her. As this person wrote, "The titty baby who was spoiled rotten by mommy and who lied to trick Kimberly into marrying him turns out to be a physically and mentally abusive monster. Color me shocked, I tell you. But the person who had an emotional outburst after being gaslighted and lied to and mistreated by his family is the real psycho." Sure. The real shock came in January 2025, when Kimberly went live on Instagram with explosive allegations. These weren't vague hints. They were detailed claims that painted a far darker picture. She accused TJ of punching her in the eye, grabbing knives during arguments, and engaging in self-harm like banging his head against walls while blaming her. She also claimed he used suicide threats as emotional manipulation throughout their relationship. Reactions were divided. Some fans supported Kimberly, while others defended TJ's strict boundaries. They are both crazy. The only thing I agree with is TJ telling her not to go to the market. India has a huge sexual assault and groping issues. Even Indian women avoid the marketplace. And her being a white woman would make herself even more of a target. There was a female doctor in India that was recently raped and murdered while watching TV in hospital lounge by other hospital staff. It was like 8 men who participated in it. That's how bad it is for women in India. TJ's response was minimal. He had already deactivated most social media and only briefly accused Kimberly of cheating, never directly addressing the abuse claims. Notably, there have been no confirmed police reports or legal filings, leaving the public to judge serious accusations without official documentation, while some fans still thought that they might make up again. As this fan wrote on Reddit, "You know in next week's episode they'll kiss and make up and get married." Overall public sentiment toward Kimberly has remained overwhelmingly negative. While abuse allegations must always be taken seriously, many viewers had already turned against her long before those claims surfaced. Reddit discussions still include some supporters. One wrote, "This, 100%, when she was crying saying she wanted a hug, and his response was, 'That's not gonna happen,' was fucking infuriating to hear, to be honest." Others still expect her to return to the franchise. I still expect them to show up on Last Resort or Diaries one of these times. As of September 2025, Kimberly and TJ are still legally married, but live completely separate lives on opposite sides of the world. Kimberly has returned to Charlotte, focusing on rebuilding her spiritual business and posting about healing from toxic relationships. TJ remains in India with his family, keeping a low profile and occasionally sharing neutral family posts when he briefly reactivates social media. He appears to have moved on entirely. The tragedy is that this relationship might have worked under different circumstances. With humility, patience, and professional help, things could have taken another path. Instead, Kimberly Rochelle's 90-day fiancé journey spiraled from chaos to catastrophe. What began as a search for love became a storm of fights, accusations, and disturbing allegations. From shredded wedding invitations to explosive live streams, this couple was doomed from the start. Want more reality TV breakdowns and jaw-dropping mess? Follow us for the wildest stories, freshest updates, and drama you can't look away from.